Most men think attraction is created through action, through explaining, through reacting fast, through proving something in real time. But psychology shows something far more uncomfortable. When a man becomes emotionally too calm, when he stops reacting the way people expect, attraction doesn't decrease. It often increases, quietly, sometimes dramatically. And here's the strange part. It doesn't feel logical to either person. A woman can feel more drawn to a man who says less, reacts less, and seems emotionally unshakable, than to a man who is constantly trying to engage, clarify, or win her attention. So the real question is this: why does calmness sometimes feel more powerful than effort? And when does being calm turn into something that changes how people perceive your value? In this video, you're going to understand what psychologists refer to as emotional non-reactivity and perceived stability, and how it influences attraction, especially in dating dynamics between men and women. We'll break down why overreaction lowers perceived value, why emotional control signals strength, and why some men unintentionally trigger attraction just by doing less, not more. By the end, you'll understand a pattern most men completely miss in modern dating. It's not what you say that creates presence. It's what you don't give away emotionally in the moment. And when you understand this, you stop chasing validation and start embodying something far more influential. Let's go deeper. Picture this. A man gets a delayed reply from a woman he likes. Instead of staying grounded, he starts checking his phone more often. Maybe he sends a follow-up message. Maybe he tries to fix the silence. From his perspective, he's being engaged, interested, present. But psychologically, something else is happening. He's broadcasting nervous dependency. In attachment psychology, anxious behavior signals uncertainty and self-regulation, and humans unconsciously assign lower stability to people who overreact to uncertainty. So instead of increasing attraction, he creates pressure. Now contrast that with a man who simply sees the delay and continues his day. No emotional spike, no reaction loop. That difference is where too calm begins. Not emotional coldness, but emotional self-containment. And here's the shift. Calmness isn't about doing less. It's about not leaking anxiety into your actions. So what happens when nothing is leaked at all? That's where perception changes. Let's go further. One of the strongest drivers of human attention is unpredictability. Not chaos, but controlled unpredictability. When a man reacts to everything, every message, every shift in tone, every silence, he becomes predictable. And predictability lowers psychological stimulation. But when a man doesn't immediately react, doesn't overinterpret, doesn't rush to fill space, he becomes harder to map. And the brain pays more attention to what it cannot fully predict. This is rooted in basic attention psychology. Uncertainty increases cognitive focus. So a calm man doesn't feel less present, he feels less readable. And that unreadability creates curiosity, not confusion. Curiosity. And curiosity is the first stage of emotional investment. But there's a line between calm and disengaged. And most men cross it without realizing. Let's fix that. A dangerous misunderstanding is thinking being calm means showing nothing. That's not attraction. That's emotional flatness. Real calmness is presence without urgency. For example, imagine a man on a date. The conversation flows. She laughs. There's a moment of silence. One man rushes to fill the silence with words, jokes, explanations. Another man stays relaxed. He lets the silence exist. Then continues naturally. The second man feels grounded, not because he is detached, but because he is not controlled by discomfort. This signals emotional regulation. And emotional regulation is subconsciously associated with leadership traits, stability, confidence, safety. In evolutionary psychology, stability cues were linked to long-term reliability. So the attraction response is not random, it is deeply patterned. But again, calm must still be alive, still engaged, still intentional. Now here's where things start to shift even more interestingly. Most attraction is lost, not in big mistakes, but in small over-explanations. A man says something simple, then adds justification, then adds clarification, then adds emotional context. What he thinks he is doing is being clear, but what is actually happening is value dilution. Because certainty does not require constant reinforcement. In psychology, overjustification signals internal doubt, and doubt reduces perceived authority. Think of it like this: a calm man says what he means once, then stops. An anxious man says it, explains it, re-explains it, and then reassures it. The message becomes weaker, not stronger, and attraction is highly sensitive to perceived certainty. So when a man stops over-explaining, something interesting happens. His words start to carry weight again. But the real transformation happens in how others respond to that silence after clarity. Let's go there. There is a moment in every interaction that most men waste. It's the moment right after they express something important. Most men rush to fill it, to soften it, to check the reaction. But psychologically, that moment is where perception forms. When a man states something calmly and allows silence to exist afterward, it creates cognitive processing space in the other person. And people often interpret silence as confidence when it follows clarity, because it shows that the speaker is not dependent on approval in real time. This is where too calm becomes most powerful. Not in what is said, but in what is not chased after saying it. Now, midway through this, let's challenge something most men believe. Here's a question most people never ask themselves. If overreacting builds connection, why do the most emotionally stable people tend to be the most respected in long-term dynamics? Think about it. Teachers, leaders, experienced men in relationships. They don't chase emotional chaos. They contain it. So here's the paradox. What feels like doing less is often actually signaling more control. And control, not intensity, is what creates long-term attraction stability. Now let's continue, because this next part is where it becomes deeply personal. There is a critical difference between being calm and suppressing emotion. Suppression is internal tension. It leaks in other ways: irritability, passive behavior, inconsistency. Containment is awareness. You feel the emotion, but you do not let it dictate immediate reaction. For example, a man feels slight uncertainty in a dating situation. A reactive man responds immediately to relieve that feeling. A contained man notices it, but stays grounded in behavior. That difference is everything. Because people don't respond to what you feel internally. They respond to what you express externally. And when external expression is steady, the perception is strength. Not dominance, not control, just stability. And stability is rare in modern dating behavior, which makes it powerful. Now let's move into something deeper. Human attraction is not only psychological, it is physiological. The nervous system constantly scans for emotional volatility. When someone is highly reactive, the body interprets unpredictability as mild threat. But when someone is calm, consistent, and emotionally steady, the nervous system downregulates. This creates a feeling of safety. And safety is not boring. It is necessary for deeper emotional attachment to form, especially for mature emotional dynamics. This is why calm men are often perceived as more grounded or solid, even if they are not the loudest or most expressive in the room. The nervous system trusts stability more than intensity. And now everything connects into one final truth. Most men misunderstand attraction as something they must constantly create. Say the right thing, do the right thing, react the right way. But real attraction is often not created through addition. It is created through removal of nervous urgency, removal of overreaction, removal of the need to prove something in every moment. Because when a man stops reacting to everything around him, something powerful emerges underneath. Presence. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that doesn't lose itself when attention shifts. And that is what people feel, even if they can't explain it. A too calm man is not emotionally absent. He is emotionally anchored. And that anchoring changes how others relate to him, because it changes how he relates to himself first. And this is the part most people never realize. Attraction is not just about being noticed. It is about being felt as stable in a world that is emotionally unpredictable. If this resonated with you, it means you've probably seen moments where reacting less changed how someone responded to you, but you didn't fully understand why. I'm curious. Have you ever experienced a situation where staying calm changed the entire dynamic with someone? Share it in the comments. And in the next video, we're going to break down something even deeper: why emotional distance sometimes increases attraction, and when it completely destroys it if used incorrectly. Because there is a fine line between strength and disconnection, and most men cross it without realizing. Until then, remember this: calm is not the absence of emotion, it is the control of direction.